So what's going on, guys? I am Black Ops Amazing. Welcome back to another video. Today we are back with another Zombies Q&A on the channel. This is the series where I take your questions from the comment section below to do with the zombie storyline, Easter eggs, and I answer them. So as always, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest videos on the channel. Any questions that you have, leave them in the comment section below. But let's get into this. Here we go. And enjoy. So the first question that I have from you guys today is from Comrade Bale, and you say, "Hey BOA, is there any particular reason that the disciples from Mother Toten, when they have taken enough damage, kind of look like the keepers? Love your videos." So we don't really know too much about the disciples, their background. I guess they're just like any other creature that comes from the Dark Aether, whether it be the Tormentors, the Manglers, the Megatons. They're all some kind of Dark Aether creature, but the disciple is an interesting one because he looks and acts different to the regular creature. Also his name as well. Disciple means a follower or a pupil of a teacher. I think we can say he's more than likely a follower of the One, the Forsaken. But if we just look at him, his face, this is a render of him by Rizzo. I will link his Twitter down in the description. Because there is no theatre mode in Cold War, it's very difficult to actually get up close shots of anything in this game. I have no idea why there's no theatre mode. I'm thinking maybe because originally it wasn't a Tryout game, it was made by Sledgehammer, and for that I wouldn't expect theatre mode in Vanguard Zombies either, even though it's been done by Tryout, because the base of it's still a Sledgehammer game, which is unfortunate because theatre mode does really help for YouTube videos. But yeah, just take a look at him from this render. He is very interesting. His face is almost like a mask, which is lit up. He's got his hood. He would almost look human if he couldn't fly and, well, his hands weren't like claws. You say in your question, when he takes enough damage, he looks like a keeper, which, yes and no. I wouldn't have made that comparison. I wouldn't have thought of that. When you do harm him enough, he has like loads of tentacles coming off him, kind of like an Apothecon, which may be what a lot of these creatures from the Dark Aether were in the first place. Apothecons that were banished here and over time have changed and contorted into other creatures. It's the same for the keeper, so it may well be at one point the disciple was a keeper or an Apothecon and has continued to contort and has eventually ended up looking like this. But yeah, its face is really interesting to me. It looks like it's got a ski mask on and then his face is lit up like a skull. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just another Dark Aether creature. We've seen just as weird things like the Mimics. The next question of the day says, do we have an answer for why Stuhlinger called Richtofen in Classified yet? Now this takes us all the way back to the beginning of Black Ops 4 a few years ago now. Remember that Classified was one of the first maps we had in that game, and there was an Easter egg we can find in that map, which was a telephone call from Stuhlinger to Richtofen. Now, at the time it made absolutely no sense. That phone call didn't fit into the storyline. During Classified, we know where Stuhlinger and the rest of the Victis characters were. They were on ice in Blood of the Dead. Yet we received a phone call from Samuel, which was a call out to Richtofen. Before I talk more about it though, just take a listen to what he said.
Is this thing on? Richtofen! Hey Richtofen! You've been gone from my head a really long time. I gotta be honest, I'm freaking out a bit, man. It's so quiet. I can actually hear myself think. Do you know what that's like? It's not nice at all. So, listen, buddy, old pal, we gotta talk. You sent us here, of all places, but you forgot to tell us what to do. It's dark, it's damp, it's just really filthy. I think the roaches are crawling with roaches. How is that even possible? Wait, shoot. Am I even talking to the right Richtofen? Oh, you could be the other one, right? Or the other one. Yeah, you know what? Just go talk to your Richtofen pals at the hoity-toity Ricky Gang Clubhouse and find out what the we're supposed to be doing.
So yeah, like I said, for the time when we found this, it just didn't make sense for the storyline. But then as we went on, and when we got to the end of BO4, Tagdo Toten, and we discovered what happened to the Victis characters, what their fate was, they ended up, along with everything else, getting banished to the Dark Aether. And now knowing this, what happened to them, this telephone call in Classified suddenly starts to make more sense. We realise that this message could have been sent from Stuhlinger whilst he was trapped within the Dark Aether. If you just listen to what he says, how he's trapped in a place that's dark, damp, cold, that would describe the Dark Aether. Also how he says Richtofen hasn't reached out to him and told him what to do, where he needs to go next. That's because unknowingly to him, Richtofen actually died at the end of Tagdo Toten. Stuhlinger didn't know this, so when he was banished to the Dark Aether, he was trying to contact Richtofen, not knowing that he died. So putting all of this information together, we could figure that this message was sent from Stuhlinger after the Tagdo Toten ending, after he became trapped within the Dark Aether. This was technically the last time we ever heard from Victis. The question everyone asked then is, well, if we know that Victis was sent to the Dark Aether exists in Cold War zombies, it is still a thing. If Victis was sent here, is there the chance that they're still alive? We can clearly tell from this call by Stuhlinger that they did end up surviving. They didn't die as soon as they were sent here, but they were first sent here in the 60s. Cold War takes place in the 80s. 20 years later, you've got to ask, is there a chance that Victis could have survived in the Dark Aether for 20 years? And well, although we know it's unlikely, the Dark Aether affects people in many ways. Within the Dark Aether is Ethereum. That's what turns people into zombies. If the Dark Aether doesn't end up turning you, then you can have side effects such as hallucinations, memory loss, paranoia. But we do know characters such as Zykov, for example, that have been in the Dark Aether since the 40s and are still there now. He's been there much longer than Victis have, and he's still alive, and he isn't the only one. There are other people we've heard of as well that have been there not as long, but still 5, 10, 20 years. People have managed to survive that long in the Dark Aether. And if you listen to this audio log that we've recently gotten from someone trapped in there, he says this.
It has been a long time. I can hardly remember before. There is only now. And now is not the time I would wish upon anyone. This place has changed. It is unsustainable. Many bow before one. Those who do not are consumed. The rest of us, we cower in shadow. Some manage to escape, but the crossing between worlds is dangerous. They arrive home disfigured, changed into fiery demons, horrors devoid of humanity. I hear they are killed almost instantly, when all they wanted was to escape. But they were no longer human. So the good soldiers bring their suffering to an end.
He tells us most people who are now within the Dark Aether, they bow before the one, they worship him. Those who don't are consumed by him. But there are still some people who cower in the shadows. He is one of them. And then he also goes on to say, some manage to escape, but the crossing between worlds is dangerous. They arrive home, but disfigured, changed into fiery demons, horrors devoid of humanity. We have heard of people escaping the Dark Aether previously, but then being pulled back. He tells us some manage to escape here, but when they do arrive home, they arrive disfigured, changed into fiery demons. But the main point is, it's possible, although very unlikely, that the Tranzit crew could have survived. There is still the chance that they are within the Dark Aether. We haven't heard anything from them. There is no evidence that they are alive. You would just assume they're dead or turned into some sort of Dark Aether creature. But there is a small chance that they are still alive. We don't know exactly what point this message was sent from Stuhlinger. Maybe it wasn't right after they got sent to the Dark Aether in the 60s. Perhaps he recorded it in the 70s or the 80s. Maybe in recent times. We don't know. We just think it's probably very unlikely, just because one, I can't see Treyarch bringing them back. Although if we did ever get Zombies Chronicles 2, that would give them a great excuse to bring back the Victis characters. They could say, well, they're still alive in the Dark Aether, so bringing them back as playable characters would make sense. But again, I can't see that happening. And as Petrie says in this radio, or Petrie, however you pronounce his name, people have managed to escape. If Victis are alive still, is there the chance that one day they manage to escape themselves? I think the chance is small, but who knows? With what we've been told, there's still a little bit of hope. Anyway guys, there we go, that is it. That is all I have for you for today's video. As always, hopefully you have enjoyed. If you have, you know what to do. Drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest videos on the channel. Leave any questions you have in the comment section below, and I'll see you all in the next video. Until then, goodbye.